Hi, it's Josh Gardner. Welcome back to another video, and this one happens to be on managing name flow and treating names like inventory.
Okay, let's talk about how to manage name flow. And I think what's super valuable in our business is once you start to recognize and identify that the names in front of you that you've either gotten from referral or natural market or from networking, those are your inventory. And for any business to be successful, they've got to figure out how to turn their inventory over. So if you owned a TV shop or a car lot, having 30 of the same TVs there for a month would be bad because that would mean nobody bought anything. And we've all driven by those car lots where their inventory doesn't change and it gets dusty and you're never going to pull in there and look at a car. But we've all driven by those car lots as well where everything on the front line's always changing. There's always new vehicles, stuff is clean and shiny. And that happens to us in this business, but it happens with names. So I created a system to manage all that. And I refer to someone that I haven't called yet as a suspect. They're not a prospect until they're in my calendar. So when I have a suspect list, that could be names I got from referrals, networking, somebody I saw on LinkedIn, somebody I read about in the paper, however I got the name, their name goes on a list. And I never have any more than 30 names on that list at one time. And the reason why is because I can't get through more than 30 contacts a week. And so I don't want my inventory to get stale. I want my inventory to be turning over all the time. And every week I want to be working on new things on a suspect list. So my whole goal is to go through those suspects and one way or the other, get them off the list. I've got to move them somewhere else because I'm going to get more names. I'm going to get more leads. I'm going to get more referrals, and I've got to have a place to put them. And if I can only manage 30 at a time on the suspect list, that means I've got to get them off that list. So for me, this is how I manage that. So I've got a suspect list up here on top. And when I call them or reach out to them, either in person or on the phone, there's only one of four things that can happen. Obviously, the first one would be that we call them up and they're like, yep, you bet, sure, I'd love to meet with you. Right? Probably never happens that way, but they go to the calendar. That's the first place they can go. So that's number one. We can move them from the suspect list to the calendar. Now we could call them and nobody answers. So what I always do is if they don't answer on the first time I try to call them, I leave a message. And I leave them on that list until they've not answered my call 3 times. They're on the suspect list until they've not answered my call 3 times. Then I move them to a no answer list. And once they go to the no answer list, then I'm going to work that list through one time a month. I'd sit down on a snowy day or a Saturday and get through my no answer list. And you'd be surprised how many times during not normal business hours you can catch somebody on a no answer list. So this is the second place they could go. The third place they could go is you could talk to them and they can't commit to a time. So they'd like for you to call them back. So that's my number 3. And when they ask me to call them back, I ask for specifics. In a month, in a week, next quarter, and whatever they tell me, I then calendar that. So whatever they tell me, I put that on my calendar as a callback. I'm managing everything off of the calendar on my phone. So if they tell me to call them back, I put it in my calendar. The fourth place they can end up is the trash can. You call them up and they say, yeah, there's never a scenario where I want to meet you. Okay, great. Cross the name off, crumple it up, goes in the trash can. But if you'll follow a name flow system like this, you'll keep your suspect list in front of you pretty fresh and pretty clean. You won't get to the point where you're looking at stale inventory. And the other thing that'll happen is you'll manage and retain all of your callbacks and everybody that's never answered by simply just filing them different in the beginning.